Hi guys, my name is Martina and this is my channel. So today's video is about my experience working at Sephora. This is just my own personal experience, so you could have or you could have had a different experience working there. By the way, if you hear music in the background, it's just my vinyl record playing. So how did I start working at Sephora? Well, I had been working for an agency for about, I think, 8 or 9 months. And this agency basically called me whenever they needed me, and they would send me to beauty stores like Sephora, but also other beauty stores. They would call me for like makeup jobs, makeup gigs, or to go to stores and sell makeup and perfumes. So I had been working with them for a few months. It was summer 2017, and I wasn't really working that much with them, and I needed money. So I was like, well, I can just, go around town and leave my resume to different stores so that maybe one of them will hire me. So I went to a few Sephora locations and I left my resume there. And one of these Sephora stores called me and they were like, we would like to interview you. The interview was super quick. They were looking at my resume and they were like, oh, we see that you have already worked at Sephora through this agency, so not as a Sephora employee, but still in Sephora stores. So I was like, yeah, I've done this for some time, for about 8 months, and I represented a few different brands like Dior and other ones. So they were like, oh, that's great because we have a couple people who are quitting. They're leaving the store, they're leaving the job. So we need someone new here. And initially, it was just for the month of August 2017. So they only needed one person for 1 month. And it was a part-time job. It was 20 hours a week. So yeah, that went well. The interview went well, and they called me back and they were like, you got the job. And I was like, yay. I mean, I don't really like working in retail at all, but I mean, it was still a job. I wasn't working much, so I was like, well, this is something, that could help financially, and it's also a new experience, so why not? My first day there at this location, first of all, this location was super small. It's like the smallest Sephora store in the whole city. They don't really have all the brands that Sephora stores usually have. It's kind of it's just kind of a small store. My first day, I go there on my first day, and first of all, they give me a uniform because you have to wear a uniform to work at Sephora. So they give me like this shirt and the pants, but they didn't have my size. So the pants were huge, they were so loose and so long, and I'm very short and I'm very petite. So that was kind of a problem, and I had to keep up my pants with a safety pin. I kind of looked ridiculous. So the first thing they do is they teach me how to cash people out, and I had never even touched a cash register, and that's a big responsibility. So I didn't freak out, but like in my mind I was like, oh my gosh. They taught me how to use the cash register, and at first I was like, oh my god, like I don't know how to do this. But I did end up learning. It was actually pretty simple. It was just, the beginning was kind of like, like they just left me at the cash register for a few days, and I learned how to use it, and that was cool. But after, I think, like maybe 3 or 4 days working there, when we closed the store, there was some money missing. But I knew it wasn't my fault because I counted all the money. I always double checked the money, so I knew it wasn't my fault. But it was like a pretty good amount of money missing. So I was like, oh my gosh, please not on my 4th day working here. And I don't know if they found out where the money was, but they didn't say anything to me, so So I spent the month of August working there, and at the end of the month, they told me that my contract would be renewed for another month, but I would be sent to a different location. And I was actually pretty happy because that new location was in a very good place and it was near my house. And also, I didn't really like my first manager at the first location because she would tease me all the time about me being short, and I was like, I didn't choose to be short, so that kind of pissed me off. But yeah, so they sent me to a second location, and the manager we had at the beginning in this location was kind of crazy. Like, she was totally crazy, and those were her last months working at Sephora, because then she was gonna change her job. I don't think she was a bad person. I just think that because those were her last months working at Sephora, she was kind of acting crazy. Maybe she was stressed, or I don't know. Sometimes I would be with customers and she would come and like brush my hair and touch my hair with her hands while I was talking to the customer, and that looked very weird. That felt very weird. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you touching and brushing my hair while I'm trying to help a customer? By the way, she renewed my contract again at the end of September for 3 months, and she actually didn't know that my contract was about to expire at the end of September, because I went there to talk to her because it was like 2 days left before my contract expired, and I was like, hey, can I please talk to you about my contract? Like, I'd like to know what's gonna happen. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, my contract expires in like 2 or 3 days. And she was like, oh, I didn't know that. And I was like, yeah. She decided to renew my contract for 3 months, so until the end of December. And then we changed manager. Like, she was the store manager, and a new store manager came in. This new store manager, she was amazing. Like, she was the best manager I've ever had in my life. She was absolutely, like, she was so nice, she was so lovely. Like, if you already had your schedule for the month with all the shifts, but you needed a specific day off, and you would go to her and tell her, please, can I have this day off instead of this one, she would change it. She would understand it. She was like, okay, no problem, sure, I'm gonna change it. Like, she was so nice. So my time working there with this specific store manager was actually pretty good. I really liked that Sephora location because it was a very nice store. It was in a very nice place. It still is. And the area is just very nice, very good. The customers are also very, very good. So I really enjoyed my time working there, and I was still working 20 hours a week. But then at the end of December 2017, first of all, my grandma died on the 21st of December, and luckily she died on my day off. So I wasn't at work when I got the news. I was at home, I was sleeping. I did go to work on the next day. Of course, I wasn't feeling good at all, but I still went to work. And then on the 23rd, I went to the funeral. So my manager, of course, let me go to the funeral and everything. Then we had Christmas, so the store was closed for Christmas, and I was supposed to go back to work on the 26th of December. My contract was gonna expire on the 31st of December. So I went to work on the 26th of December, and I was like, well, I think they're gonna renew my contract because I like working here. It looks like they like me. My grandma just died, so they can't let me lose my job, right? Wrong. During my break, my store manager was like, please come to the office, we need to talk. And I was like, okay, well, she's probably gonna say that they're gonna renew my contract. And she said that they couldn't renew my contract because after Christmas, sales go down and they didn't need all those employees in the store. So they had to leave some people home without a job. Me and a few other people had contracts that were about to expire, so they decided not to renew us. But I was like, my grandma just died. I'm still grieving, and you are telling me that I don't have a job anymore, that I lost my job, and it's Christmas, and like that's a lot to take. And you're telling me this during my break. Like, you could have waited until the end of my shift, right? So that I could go home and cry. But no, she told me, like, I still love her, but she told me this during my break. So I had to go back to the floor and work, knowing that I had no grandma, no job, and it was Christmas time. And my coworkers were so worried because they saw my face. I was like holding back the tears, and they were like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna work here anymore, and I just found out, and my grandma died, so no, I'm not okay." But as I said, this store manager was really, really nice. So she told me, "Look, I really like you as a worker. I know that you're going through a lot. I don't want you to feel like I don't want you here. I had to make this decision, but it's not because of you. I love the way you work. I know that I'm never gonna find another employee like you, so I want to help you, and if I hear about other stores looking for people, looking for employees, I'm gonna tell you and I'm gonna help you." And that's exactly what she did. So a few days later, I think maybe like 2 or 3 days later, the biggest store in the whole country called her, and they were like, "Look, we need one person here, so do you know anyone? Do you have any former employees that you can send us?" And she gave them my contact and everything, and she was like, "Hey, I just sent your contacts to the store." So I went to this other store, which is the Flagship store. It's like the main store, not only in the city but in the whole country. Like, it's the most important store in the country. It's where most important events take place. So I went there for an interview, and it went pretty well. They hired me, so I started working there in January, and my contract was for 6 months, so until the end of June 2018. And at first, I was so happy because I was like, well, this is like the biggest store in the whole country. It's poppin'. But it wasn't. The first few days went very well, and then things just started to go wrong. Some of my managers there, especially one, but some of my managers there were crazy as hell. Like, one of them was super, super crazy, and I can do a whole story time about her because she was something else. So working at this location for 6 months was super, super stressful. First of all, I don't really like working in retail anyway, but if the store is nice and the people working there are nice and the managers are nice, then I'm not gonna have any problems. But this store was super stressful. It was in the city center, so there were always a lot of customers around, even rude customers. Not that many rude customers, but sometimes you would meet very rude people. But the main problem was the atmosphere in the store. Like, there was always so much tension between managers and employees, and they would only care about you selling, selling, selling. So even if you were the best makeup artist on earth, they wouldn't care because they only wanted you to sell everything. Like, they literally wanted you to almost force people to buy. They would always tell us, you have to greet customers, and you have to like keep asking them if they need any help. You have to tell them about all these promotions and new products and stuff, even if they don't want them. And I'm like, bro, chill. Like, some people are just here to look at products. Maybe they have some free time and they just want to have a look around. I don't want to be aggressive with customers because I am also a customer. I'm also a Sephora customer, and I hate when employees there are so aggressive with me and they're like constantly asking me if I need any help, if I need this product or this other product. So every time a customer came in, they wanted us to go up to them, tell them, hello, welcome to Sephora, can I help you? And even if the customer would say, no, I'm just gonna have a look around, they would tell you, like, even just after 2 minutes, to go back to that customer and ask them if they needed any help. Sometimes customers really got pissed off, and some of them would even leave the store. They were like, please stop asking me if I need any help. Please stop talking to me. Please leave me alone. I'm just here to look at products or, test products or swatch products on my skin, stuff like that. Another thing that really caused a lot of tension and that I absolutely hated was membership cards. So basically, you know how you can have a membership card at Sephora, right? And that allows you to have like special discounts or, offers and stuff like that. So the managers in the store were pretty much obsessed with membership cards. They always wanted us to ask customers if they had a membership card, and if they didn't, they wanted us to almost force customers to get one. Many customers were not from the country. They were tourists and stuff, and this membership cards only worked in the country. So tourists usually didn't want to get a membership card because that just doesn't make sense, And our managers wanted us to get at least 5 people a day each, like for each worker, to sign up for a membership card, which is pretty crazy because even if we did have a lot of customers, most of them were tourists, so they didn't want no membership card, and many other customers already had a card. Not only that, but there was a girl who was specifically hired to get people to sign up for membership cards, so that was all she did all day. She was there for membership cards specifically. So to keep telling us that we had to get new people to sign up for membership cards it just didn't make sense, because this girl was there for that specific reason. So why do I have to think about these freaking membership cards all day? And sometimes the managers would create these competitions where basically the person in the store, the employee in the store who would convince the highest amount of people to get a membership card would get a special prize. And that special prize would be like a lipstick, a perfume. Like, ain't nobody care about that. We already have free stuff working here, so why? For what? For why? Oh yeah, about the free stuff. You do get free stuff working at Sephora, so that's a very good thing. So basically, I'm not sure if things are still like this, but when I used to work there, we used to get 2 perfumes each month, or a perfume and a cream. And you could also get free makeup every now and then. I think it was like every 3 or 6 months, I'm not really sure. But you did get free makeup too sometimes. And we also had discounts. I know they changed them now, but when I was there, I think I had a 20% discount on brands like Dior, Chanel, Lancome, all the, classic brands. And then I had a 30% discount on the Sephora exclusive brands like Urban Decay or Too Faced or Kat Von D. And then we had a 40% discount on the Sephora brand. And I did buy a lot of makeup while working there, and I would also get, some free makeup sometimes. So that was something I really, really liked. One thing I also really enjoyed was going to these events that would take place in luxury hotels. And these events were held to show new products, new launches, talk about new launches, or, teach us about a new perfume or a new mascara, a new skincare line, a new brand, stuff like that. It was really cool, because you would go there and You would go to these beautiful hotels and you would get free food, and then you would watch this presentation of new products or brands, and they would also give you gifts. So if you went to a new perfume presentation, for example, you would get the perfume most of the time, at least. Now, the customers, most of them were actually very nice. You know, usually you would think that working in retail, you get a lot of crazy or rude customers, but not really. Most customers I met were very lovely people, and I would actually enjoy talking to them. You know, sometimes we would talk for a while, or I would do their makeup, and they were super happy and super nice. I mean, I did have a few rude customers. I did encounter a few creatures and I even made friends. There was a girl who came to the store when we launched Fenty Beauty, and we became friends. We started hanging out, and I did her makeup for a photo shoot because she's a model. And shout out to you, Karine, I love you, girl. And so yeah, the customers were usually very normal and nice and happy people. My main problem were the managers, really. Not all of them. Some of them were pretty good, but there was one or two of them that were just on a whole other level. My coworkers were also very nice, except for a few. You know, there are always a few coworkers that are just always doing the most or acting like managers when they aren't, you know. Sometimes they are on your same level, they get the same pay, they have to do the same things as you, but they still want to act like managers, and that's just something I really don't like. But I did get along with most of my coworkers. I still sometimes see some of them or talk to some of them, you know, on Instagram or when I go to the store, and we're still cool. I think there were just like a couple people that I really didn't like, especially one because she was a snitch and she was always acting nasty with me for some reason. A very important thing to mention is that when you work at Sephora, at least here in my country, you have to follow face charts. So basically, you can't do your makeup the way you want to. You can't wear the colors or products you want. You have to follow a face chart. And the face charts, they change every week, and I think also every weekend. Like sometimes they change in the weekend, sometimes they don't. I'm not really sure how that works, but so each week you get a new face chart and you have to follow it. You have to do your makeup exactly like it looks in the face chart, and sometimes that's really annoying because not everybody's gonna look good with a certain makeup style, makeup look, you know? There were times, many times actually, when we had to wear red eyeshadow and red lipstick. Like, what am I, the blood queen? Like I already have red hair, and you want me to wear red eyeshadow and red lipstick? That's a little too much red. Or there were a few other times when we had to wear green and red eyeshadow, and that looked like a Christmas look, but it wasn't Christmas. That didn't look good. That didn't look good. And if you didn't follow the face chart, managers would get pretty mad at you, especially at me for some reason. Like, I did have co-workers who never followed the face chart or they didn't do it right, and nobody said nothing about it. But when I didn't follow the face chart, they were like, hey, why didn't you do this? Why are you not wearing the lipstick? Why are you just wearing a gloss? And I was like, really? Like, is this really so important? Like, first of all, if you don't look good with that makeup look, people are gonna look at you like you're crazy. Like, customers are gonna look at you like, this girl can't do her makeup, you know? And there were actually many customers who came up to me and they were like, hey, I love your look, but most of your co-workers look really crazy. They look like clowns most of the time. And I was like, yeah, no, it's because we have to, follow a face chart, and it's the same for everyone. So not everyone is gonna look good with that style. And they were like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Customers don't know about the face chart. So most of the time, they will look at an employee with this crazy makeup look that doesn't look good on them, and they will just think that these employees can't do their makeup right. Usually, I try to kind of adapt the face chart look for me. Like, I know what looks good on me and what doesn't, so I would try to maybe slightly change things to make the face chart look nice on me, because otherwise I would have gone around looking like a clown. I would always do my makeup at home because I do have, my makeup lights, I have my own products, my own brushes that I like to use on myself, and most of my co-workers did their makeup in the store, especially if we were working a morning shift. They would come to the store and, get some time to do their makeup, but they would do it with the store testers and with the store brushes. Because when you work at Sephora, you have your own makeup belt with your own brushes that you use on your customers. But I mean, these brushes are used on so many people every single day, and even if you do clean them with the brush spray, that that's not a very good way to clean brushes. Like, you should wash them and, disinfect them. And brush sprays are usually products that you use like on the go when you have no time to actually wash the brushes. So they're not a very good way to clean the brushes. You don't really clean them that much with a spray. So my coworkers, most of them, would use the same brushes they use every single day on hundreds of customers on their own faces, which I really, I wasn't about that life. Like, no, I'm gonna use my own brushes at home, and I'm gonna use the brushes that I only use on myself, not on strangers every single day. And my coworkers also used the store testers. Now, we had all kinds of people coming to the store and using the testers on their faces. There were a lot of customers coming in and putting on mascara, eyeshadow, foundation, powder, lipstick, lip gloss, you name it, everything. Sometimes there were people who came to the store to do their own makeup and then they would leave. Or we also had homeless people coming into the stores and using the testers on their faces. And my coworkers were using those same products to do their own makeup. And that's nasty. That's nasty. I myself felt way safer using my own products at home with my own brushes, my own lights. I I didn't want to use no testers, no nasty testers. As I mentioned in the beginning, they gave me a uniform when I first started working at Sephora, and after a few months I was given another uniform because sometimes uniforms change with the seasons. You have like a summer uniform and a winter uniform. I mean, the uniform was okay, it was alright, it was pretty comfortable. They did end up giving me the right pants, the right size of pants. But one thing I hated, along with having to follow a face chart, was the fact that you couldn't wear your hair the way you wanted to. You could only wear a ponytail or a braid or a bun. And I would usually wear a braid, like I would do like a braid and keep it on the side like this, or I would have two braids like this, because I mean it's still braids, right? But I didn't really like that because I don't really like the way I look with a braid or a ponytail or a bun. The way you wear your hair does not define how professional you are. It doesn't define how good of a seller or makeup artist you are, right? I mean, what's important to me is that you give very good customer service and that you're good at doing people's makeup, giving advice to people. Your hair does not define how good of a worker you are. When you work at Sephora, shifts can be pretty stressful, especially if you work in a very big store like I did. When I had to open the store with other people, I had to be there at 7 a.m. and I had to have my makeup and hair already done. So I would wake up at 4 a.m. sometimes. And when we closed the store, our shifts ended at 10:30 p.m. So I would get home pretty late at night. And the bad thing about these shifts was that we only knew our schedule about a week in advance, or sometimes even less. And most of the time, you're gonna work during weekends and also festivities, so you're never really free when other people are. You're always working. So there were a lot of makeup gigs and jobs that I had to turn down because I either didn't know if I was free or I already knew that I was gonna work in the store. So that was pretty sad because I lost so many occasions because I had to work at Sephora. I'm not gonna lie, I was very, very stressed while working at this big store for 6 months. I just couldn't take it anymore. Like, honestly, I'm glad they didn't renew my contract in the end because I wanted to quit. I wanted to leave. I didn't want to go there anymore. I didn't want to work there anymore. So, yeah. You could have a very good or a very bad or an okay experience working at Sephora depending on many things, depending on your Sephora location, your managers, your co-workers, your customers, all of that. So my own experience was good and bad at the same time. Like, it was good at the first and second location and pretty bad at the third location. I wouldn't go back. I totally wouldn't go back. I don't think I would ever take a job at Sephora again because it was just so stressful. And I might do a story time in the future to, tell you about my crazy Sephora manager because she really messed with me. She was the main reason why I hated working there. Like, I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to see her face. I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't want her to talk to me. She just made my experience way worse. I'm still happy that I got to work at Sephora because, it still gave me a lot of experience to put on my resume. I also met beautiful people. I got some free stuff. I got discounts. And I also met a few very special celebrities working there, and I'm gonna do a story time about them. So yeah, this is my experience, and I didn't go into great detail because I could go on for hours. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time about me working at Sephora. I'm definitely gonna do a video about my crazy Sephora manager and famous people I met while working at Sephora, cause there's a lot to say. And I'll see you on my next video.